you don't know what words to say, that's enough. Have your way in me. And it's especially important today because today I want to talk about some of the painful experiences we have in life. I'm calling this sacred sandpaper. We all have those kind of sandpaper experiences. You may be living with one. It's those kind of experiences that just seem to rub you the wrong way, and it hurts and it's painful. And I want to show you today how we can look at those experiences and actually move to embrace the sandpaper of life. Do you want to know how to make those things important and a blessing to you? Because that's what we're going to talk about today. You see, in a way, we all kind of enter life as this piece of wood, kind of naked, and here we are. Pure, simple, there it is, and it smells fantastic. Ever smelled a newborn baby? They smell beautiful. Babies, puppies, wood, it's all good. So what happens in life as we go through this experience, though, well-intentioned people try to help us grow up and try to help us fit into a world that, you know, maybe not as perfect as that. And so what they do is they say, oh, honey, I know you want to be an auto mechanic, but girls can't be auto mechanics, so let's just paint that right over. You can't do that. And you can't do this, and you have to act like that, and you have to vote this way, and you have to do all these things. Pretty soon, we get covered up. Our authentic self gets covered up, and we end up looking like this. Now, I put a smiley face on it because that's kind of the face we put on. You know, and it's just like, this is it. This is awesome. But can you see the wood? Do you know even what kind it is? And there's no, smells like paint to me. What happens in our life is that we coat our authentic self up with this stuff. And then we don't really even know. We begin to believe that we are red. I chose this color specifically because it's called safety red. And we do this to be safe. We do this to protect the wood. It's going to protect the wood, so we cover ourselves up with all this stuff, and that's really amazing. And then what happens, sometimes we have an experience in life, a sandpaper experience. And we encounter this. Maybe it's in work, maybe it's in relationship, and all of a sudden something starts to rub, and this, you know what? This hurts. This actually is not fun. This is not what I want to do. But what happens if you can see this enough, you can see what happens. Some of the wood begins to show through. So what do? Well, the first thing we do is we run to the paint can and we paint it right over, because God knows we don't want anyone to see what that is really like. This is what happens when we get wounded. Man, we just want to cover it up. We want to move on. What I would suggest to you is that those experiences in life are the things that give us an opportunity to actually reveal who we truly are. It's not just me saying it. Jesus said it in the Gospel of Matthew. He said, you're familiar with the old written law, love your friend, and its unwritten companion, hate your enemy. I'm challenging that. I'm telling you to love your enemies. Let them bring out the best in you, not the worst. When someone gives you a hard time, respond with the energies of prayer, for then you are working out of your true selves, your God-created selves. This is what God does. Because what happens for most of us is we get these sandpaper, I put a little frowny face on this, we get these sandpaper experiences, and we get, first of all, we get filled with judgment. And we get filled with blame. And we get filled with righteous indignation, which you remember is the ability to be critical, judgmental, hateful, mean, and nasty and still be Christian. Because it's righteous. It's not a good thing. We don't like it. Now, Jesus said also in the Gospel of Thomas, a gospel that was discovered in the Nag Hammadi scripts, he said, if you bring forth what is within you, what you have will save you. This is going to save you. Not this. He says you bring it forth and it will save you. If you do not have that within you, you don't bring it forth, then what you do not have within you will destroy you. A painted life is not a real life. You understand? It's not really you. Two things about this painted life. Not only people don't get to see you, but the walls that we build, the paint that we build up on this also keeps us from expressing our own love. The wall goes two ways. This is what we really are, and this is what happens. Now, here's a really kind of a fun part. Never does this show up more clearly in life than in relationship. Mm-hmm. Because when you first meet each other, go, wow, nice dress. Oh, I love red. Me too. Mm-hmm. Cool red jeans. Mm-hmm. And we're in love, and it's just so fantastic, and everything is good. We dance around. It's all really cool. But one of us has some sandpaper hair. And when you stay with them long enough, you begin to get one of these things going on. And you go, hey, ouch. You left hair in the sink again. You leave your clothes all over everywhere. You're mean to my mother-in-law. You're mean. We do this. So what happens? What normally happens is, you're not the person I thought you were. I've tried to change you, but it doesn't work. Goodbye. Air kiss. And we're off. That's what happens. But what would happen if we stayed here? And we acknowledge that the sandpaper is going to bring out the very best in us eventually if we stick with it. You understand? Then what you end up with is two very incredible, authentic people who are able to be together. There may be a little sandpaper. Oh, there's an edge. I want to rub that off. Thank you, dear. Thank you for showing me that. I appreciate you. That's God. Remember that? That was last week, yeah? How amazing is that? How beautiful can that be? But the lessons have to be learned, and the choice is always up to us when we get this experience. Are we going to take this experience and run away from it? Or are we going to embrace the sandpaper of life because we know that sooner or later it's going to start revealing this? And what Jesus said, let it bring out the God self in you. This is the God self, not the painting. You can't say, oh, you messed up my paint job. Who cares? It's not really you anyway. What is really you is underneath. I know that sometimes in churches we feel like, and I know people come to my office too, that once you get your act together and you become the authentic, spiritually enlightened person that you know deeply inside you are, you still encounter a lot of these kind of people. Oh, hi. And you say, come to my office and say, Reverend Sky, I don't understand why, being the spiritual person, that I am attracting all of these wounded people. Why is that happening? Because the law of attraction says I'm going to attract what I do. Well, let me tell you something. You know what I say to them? Congratulations. You are doing exactly what Jesus did. Who was more authentic, more real, more transparent, more godlike than Jesus? And look who he hung out with. I'm a leper, heal me. I'm blind, heal me. I'm a crook, heal me. I've been bleeding for 35 years, heal me. Jesus attracted all the sick people. And do you think he ever once said to God, God, what are you doing here? These are not my people. I wanted attractive people, healthy people, whole people in my life. That's not what he said, because he knew that that's what, they see it and they go, that's what I want. You see? They see it and they know that's what they want, so of course they do it. And that will happen to you. If you're only attracting the pretty red-painted people, you might want to check the mirror. See how much paint there is, because they love to get together and trade colors. 20 or 30 years ago, I used to work in the last existing leper colony in America, and that was on the island of Kalaupapa. And I learned some really amazing things there. I worked as a nurse. I became a nurse so I could work there because Father Damien worked there, and he was one of my spiritual heroes. I wanted to do everything my heroes did, my spiritual heroes did. So I became a nurse, and I worked there. Here's some of those pictures that I took when I was there. Now, it wasn't so long ago that they hadn't invented color film. It's just that I kind of like taking black and white pictures sometimes. This is the lighthouse that's famous down there, and these are the 4,000-foot cliffs that surround this peninsula. These are some of the scenes from there. I lived in the Quonset hut with the forest rangers, and I lived there for 2 years, and there was my little room, like a little monk's room. It was so So austere, it was perfect. This big thing in the back here, that's IBM's very first personal computer. It weighed 35 pounds and was as big as a sewing machine. But it was cool. I learned some amazing things from these people. So much of our time is spent trying to avoid pain in life, right? I mean, some people, they won't even go out anymore because it's only going to hurt, or they're not going to get involved because I'm not going to get a puppy because it'll just die and I'll be left alone again. I mean, we have all these things we don't want to get hurt. And what I want to suggest to you is that the pain is a gift. If we do not have the pain, we are liable for great destruction. And let me explain to you why. Leprosy is a disease of the nerves. It attacks the myelin sheath that surrounds the nerves. And what it does effectively is it numbs them. It completely stops the nerves from functioning. So they have no feeling. They don't hurt. You may look at their wounds and go, oh man, that must hurt. No, it doesn't hurt at all. And that's the problem. When your feet can't feel anything, you can step on glass, nails, any kind of sharp object, and the next thing you know is you have a wound in your foot. And the next thing you know is that it actually starts to fester, and maybe it becomes gangrene, but you don't feel it. And eventually it becomes so bad that they have to take it off. Same thing happens with the rest of the extremities, the ears, the fingers. There's no feeling. You see, if they had the feeling in their foot, then when they stepped on something, they go, wow, that hurt. I'm going to the nurse and get that taken care of. But if we don't have the pain, we're never going to know what needs fixing. Do you understand? That's the cool thing about the sandpaper. I learned some things about pain, hurt. It shows us what's missing, mostly in us. That's the whole thing. When you're having a sandpaper experience, and you go, the question to ask is, what in me and what in my awareness is missing that allows me to be hurt? Because we are spiritual beings. We are above all of that emotional trauma in this world if we live in that authentic space. And when we don't, we're going to feel some pain. So the question to ask is not, why did you hurt me? The question is asked is, why do I hurt? What in me is hurting? Because that needs to be healed. Second thing I learned very clearly is that it shows us what's real and not real. We get very tied up in the things that we think are so important and all that kind of stuff. And I remember somebody told me one time, in 100 years from now, you think anybody will know about that? No. So what? We're all upset, but what really matters is something else. Only love transforms, and that's what really matters. And then lastly, is it shows us who we already are. This is it. The sandpaper shows us, allows us to have the opportunity to let it show through if we don't just paint it over again. Paint it over again with excuses. Paint it over again with blame. Paint it over again with judgment. We have to let it stand and know who and what we are. Charles Fillmore said that the I am is the Son of God idea, and all the possibilities of the principle through that idea are open to you. All the godness is open to you. To know thyself is to know that you are I am, and not flesh and blood. Imelda Shanklin's a great unity writer, and she says that our bodies are merely the manifestation of our consciousness. They are what we think we are. The soul creates this thing called a body, but this is the fallacy of my little exhibition today. This is not who you are either. This is what our soul may think is our authentic self. This is not it either. I'm going to show you why. In the Bhagavad Gita, it says, realize that which pervades the universe and is indestructible. No power can affect this unchanging, imperishable reality. The body is mortal, but that which dwells in the body is immortal and immeasurable. And what dwells in the body? The Spirit of God in you. It's the soul of your consciousness. That's what's in the wood. It is not the wood. So here's a cool thing. If you can be brave enough to encounter enough of these experiences through processes of meditation, renunciation, non-attachment, if I keep doing this for a while, what do you think is going to happen to this wood? What's the matter? It's not only smooth. If I keep doing it, what's going to happen? It's going to disappear. Dust to dust, ashes to ashes. It's going to be gone. It'll be blown in the wind if I keep doing this. So just being to this stage is not enough. You say, well, what's the precedent for that? This is the great message that Jesus was trying to tell us, especially at Easter. Because Jesus went through an ultimate sandpaper experience called crucifixion. Incredibly painful. And in that experience of crucifixion, what happened to his physical form? It died. But what happened to him? He was immortal. Immeasurable. And you are immortal and immeasurable too. This same thing can happen. It would be my incredible desire that as we grew spiritually, eventually each and every one of us would lose this and become pure spirit and consciousness. That's the great message. And we all are on that journey. Some of you are pretty close. I see you kind of shimmering in and out. It's where we need to go and what we need to do. I want you to learn how to embrace the sandpaper, to say, this is a step that's going to make me more real. This is a thing that's going to make me more authentic. This is a thing that's going to take away everything that is not really me, so that who I can be can shine. It's what Jesus said, let your God self be brought forth with these experiences. And that's what I want you to have. In your bulletin, I included a little card for you today. I invite you to take that out, if you will, please, for a minute. These are things that I try to give you every week, little consciousness conditioners for you to keep. This is for you to keep. Today it says, every experience is an opportunity to show my God self. It's not an opportunity to blame others. It's not an opportunity to redo that resentment that I've been holding on to for so long, which I love to reminisce about. It's an opportunity to show my God self. I'm going to invite you to read this out loud with me, please, together. Every experience is an opportunity to show my God self. Let's do it again. Every experience is an opportunity to show my God self. And one more time from memory. Every experience is an opportunity to show my God self. That's something you can say throughout the day, throughout the weeks, and throughout your life as you embrace the sandpaper. I'm going to invite you to close your eyes with me for just a moment, please. All of this shifting of consciousness takes place inside of us. Every decision to look at those experiences as opportunities comes from within you. It comes from that meeting place with you and God. So in these quiet moments, I invite you to try. Bring some experience into your mind right now that is a sandpaper experience. Some situation, some challenge, some person that is uncomfortable and hurtful. I invite you to bring that into this time of meditation. And maybe your simple prayer is, God, have your way in me. Show me how I can let this opportunity bring forth my God self. That's a request. And God answers requests. They are answered in this time of sacred and truly holy silence.